Hey, everybody, and welcome to our weekly MLM Mastermind. I'm Craig Peliquin. I'll be hosting this evening's conversations with some great networkers here beside me, at least at this table alone. We worked it out over 75, almost 80 years of MLM experience. Does that mean that we're experienced or just getting old?
I don't understand what you're talking about, Craig.
And so over here I have Dennis Wilson.
Hello.
And our mentor. The reason that we're in this thing.
It.
Over here, Greg Stewart. All your fault, Greg. And down in the bottom corner there, we have Stan Harris, Dr. Breakthrough. Stan, how are you doing?
I'm blessed and highly favored, just like you, man.
Great to have you on board. You know, we're going to get started, and our topic today is crypto.
Right.
Everything about crypto, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Dennis, I kind of like to get you started here.
Can we add one more word? The good, the bad, the ugly, and the lies.
And the lies. Yeah. Okay. You know, and all of your books. And I mean, just to give everybody here a little idea who Dennis Wilson is. I mean, Dennis and I go back over 20 years. And when we talk about the truth, Dennis is the one guy that always tells the truth. I mean, even the subtitle of all his books is "The Truth is Good Enough." The truth is good enough. And, it doesn't say that on this one, but the truth is good enough. And I can tell you that Dennis always tells the truth. The very first time I met Dennis, we were in our first network marketing company together.
Yep.
And this guy over here was the president, VP of sales. And,
yep.
And then that's how we learned everything. And you came up to one of my presentations. I had just become car qualified, and I was a little cocky. Would that be a
hang on, which part, cocky or little? I mean,
and I kind of was a little bit big for my britches at the time. I was young. I was the youngest car qualified. And after the presentation that I thought was fantastic, you came up and introduced yourself. You shook my hand. You said, "Craig, I just wanted to introduce myself." That was the worst presentation I have ever seen in my entire life. It was full of clicks. There was inside jokes. I didn't feel like I was part of the group. I'm never coming back.
Well, I mean, you were preaching to your adoring fans versus a business presentation.
And I looked at you and I said, you know what? You're absolutely right. Come back next week and I'll change it. And you came back, and at the end of that next presentation, you shook my hand. So that's the best presentation I've ever seen. And we've been best friends ever since.
Well, I mean, it was the best I'd seen until then, because then you sucked me into starting to do part of it with you. And of course, now I think it got better.
So and a lot of what we learned was from this guy over here. It's his fault. That's why we're still here. I mean, Greg taught us to be successful in this industry. You had to copy successful people.
Yep.
And in your new book, your MLM Success Bible, you've even got the very first chapter is the history and truth of network marketing, written by
Mr.
Greg Stewart.
Stewart.
So we're not here to talk about MLM. We're here to talk about we're here to talk about crypto.
Well, we're here to talk about crypto and how it relates to MLM.
Yes. So maybe you can give everybody just a little bit of an idea how you got into the whole crypto thing, because you and I have been staying away from crypto since 2009. We've stayed away from crypto.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it really started because the phone was ringing off the hook with people who wanted to do MLMs based upon crypto. And because we sell MLM software, I was just getting inundated with it. And I refused to even hook up a way to pay to join an MLM with Bitcoin. I mean, I had stayed away from it 100%. I warned people of it. No. But with the big pop that happened with the price, all of a sudden it was really happening a lot. Instead of once every few months, it was happening like 4 or 5 times a week. So I said, okay, I got to learn this first of all and see if it's worth doing. So then, of course, I got sucked into it, because once you start learning about crypto, holy cow, is it hard to figure out the truth about crypto, because every little wiener 14-year-old that knows nothing has an opinion, and you don't know he's 14 because you don't see his picture, but he's telling you something that's completely untrue about crypto on the internet, but it's in writing, so people believe it and quote it.
Okay.
So, and of course, the other problem with crypto is everything changes at a rapid pace. So something that was true when it was written on August 11th, 2016, that mining's not viable, completely true on August 11th, 2016, completely untrue today. But we'd like everyone to perpetuate that myth, because we intend to make an awful lot of money for our customers selling mining contracts.
There you go.
So we don't mind if everyone thinks that it's not worthwhile putting a mining machine in your own house or in your garage to heat it up and make a little money. We're okay that you think that doesn't work, but part of the truth is it does work. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of risk. It's some maintenance. It's some learning. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but to say that it doesn't work shows someone who understands the industry that you're instantly a fool.
Right. Now, you wrote your book, and it is available on Netflix, the cryptocurrency.
Amazon.
Or I'm sorry, on Amazon, Cryptocurrency Mining Bible. And, it just goes through your 8-month journey.
It does.
Into mining and crypto and all the different ways that you can go and participate. And there's no hype in it. It's just the truth. It's not really a self-serving book, except for the guy's face on the front. But other than that, so let's all talk here. And we've got 4 of us here that are all involved in some capacity in cryptocurrency. And we're all hearing different things. Now, Greg, you've been in the MLM industry for over 30 years. You stayed away from crypto for some of the same reasons that we have. But you're getting inundated when you're out there networking and talking to people, and you're hearing crypto, and MLM, and, put all your money in, and people are investing. We're hearing it, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, $500,000 into these deals.
It's like the old NSA days, Greg.
Yes.
So there's people putting a lot of hard-earned money into crypto. Now, what's real out there and what isn't real out there? I guess that's really what, the people that are watching this, we want to share tonight, is some of the truths that we're seeing, some of the lies that we're seeing, some of the bold-faced lies that are out there. I mean, you said, Dennis, when people were coming to you to start software programs, many people didn't even realize with their companies that what they were doing was illegal.
And this is actually probably the biggest point I want to make with. And actually, Dr. Stan and I were talking the other night about this exact topic. The reality is this: most of the people that were coming to me looking to build the coolest crypto MLM they've ever seen didn't even know themselves that what they were planning was illegal. So the hard part is you want to sort of be down on all of these things and down on the people that join them, but it's absolutely possible that the owner of the company doesn't know that what he's doing is illegal. Now, he's probably going to learn it pretty quickly, so then you have a bit of a conundrum, because he probably didn't know it was when he started. Probably didn't take more than a couple months and a couple of thousand people to be very clear that it's illegal. But then, of course, it's like the gifting programs. You start finding reasons to pretend that that's not true about us. So I don't want to say that because we're saying a lot of them are scams, it doesn't necessarily mean that the guy who introduced it to you or the owner of the company even knows that.
Right.
And that's the hard part about crypto. It's so new and so emerging. Crazy.
There's so much information in this book. I mean, truly, if you're involved in crypto, it is a must-read book. And it's been an eye-opener for myself. I shied away from it because I didn't understand it. I didn't know what a blockchain was. I didn't know how you mine coins, and so it was all foreign to me. And so it does take a lot of education. Dennis took 8 months just to immerse himself in it. He's now an expert. He did so because of clients that he had coming to him for the software and so on. I would take a look at the MLM companies that were embracing it. And the sad thing is that in the crypto world, it allows a breeding ground for MLM to play on emotions, offering things that are impossible, 1% a day, and so on. Then I would take a look, at the comp plan. I would see no value of product. I would see that they would be talking about trading. I'll want Dennis to touch on that in a minute. And then, and also when a client would come to Dennis, it's like, okay, your mining rigs, your alt mining machines, the S9s are the most popular and most efficient. How much hash power are you going to have? Where are you going to get your electricity from? How are you going to handle the maintenance and the fans and the cooling? Are you going to buy them on Amazon for $5,000? Are you going to buy them from
from China Direct?
China Direct.
For $1,800. Are you going to build them your own?
Build them your own.
And so you're going to try to run it from your house. You're going to try to operate in a bigger scale. And where
are you going to get your electricity?
That's it. And to make it profitable, you've got to truly have some value in electricity. And so, mining is big business, and Bitcoin's here to stay. I have my own opinions on the ICOs. I think most of them are going to be illegal. And Dennis can expound on that as well. And there's going to be some issues. But Bitcoin is here to stay. Mining is legitimate. I've seen so many things in the trading of cryptocurrency that is just here, give us your money. And folks, you're going to hear stories about somebody who's got the best trader in the world, one of the top 5 in the world. And he's, okay, if that were true, why would they need your $1,000? Why would they need your $1,000? I had somebody just yesterday telling me this is one of the top 5 in the world. He's one of the 5 people that hold the most Bitcoin in the world.
I've had 3 clients tell me the same thing in the last week.
I thought they said they were the number 1.
They were number 1. So I mean, your guys are not very good because I got 3 clients that got the number 1 guy in the world.
And you know what? You'll find that duplication will work for you or against you. So people perpetuate that.
Well, and
show their back office and show this money that they can't withdraw. All this crazy stuff.
Well, and we're seeing this. We're seeing this quite a bit. Now, Stan, you're sitting there in the bottom corner. I want to bring you into our conversation here,
and let us know what he's running across.
Exactly. What are you coming across in the world of crypto and that? Maybe you can give us your little opinion there. That'd be great.
Well, I read the book and was incredibly blessed by the book. I think that everybody should get it. It's got a lot of great information. My experience has been simply this. Where we're going with cryptocurrency is where we were going with home-based business back in the 60s. It was taboo. It was, oh, that's a scam. By the way, my acronym for scam, SCAM, steals credibility and money. Now, when you do things right, it doesn't steal credibility and money. As a matter of fact, I call it a speedy cash accumulating mechanism. So everything in the world is going digital. So you can't stop digital currency. I mean, everything's going digital. So it's the natural progression. And as a minister of the gospel, I believe it's going to be one of the greatest vehicles of the transfer of wealth. And as you stated, the problem then comes, now people are starting to get interested. They're falling for some of the what I call the get-rich-quick schemes, as opposed to a get-rich-quicker system, proven system with a track record. But definitely cryptocurrency is here to stay. Every single person needs to have some kind of involvement with cryptocurrency. It is absolutely fabulous because, again, we came from an agricultural society to an industrial society and so forth. And now we're in a digital society, and it's only natural that our money will go digital. And so that's what cryptocurrency or digital money, technically in a nutshell, is all about. It's the next progression. And obviously those who enter in the beginning, like Bitcoin launched in 2008. Everybody says it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme. Oh, the government's going to shut them down. I mean, the greatest financial minds said it's a scam. There's nothing behind it. And yet, in just a few years, Bitcoin went up to $1,200 a coin. And now, of course, it's fluctuating somewhere between $4,000 to $5,000. There's been some crazy projections of it going up to, well, I don't even want to say, but let's say some crazy projections. Now, if it's true, great, because I've got some. If not, it's okay. I always tell people there's always a risk. There's never any guarantees. You always take a risk, but you want to make sure you take a calculated risk so that you want to make sure that, again, what you initially buy or invest, you want to make sure you get that back ASAP as soon as you can, and then everything else is going to be what you have invested your just the extra, the interest, and then you can let that build and grow and so forth. Mm-hmm. And so we've done several 6 figures in the last 2 years ago and last year, and we continue today. So I think it's a great thing. I think everybody needs to learn. You will learn, you will be approached, and you want to have the proper information so you don't get sucked into the wrong information.
Exactly. And let's talk about some of those things then. And Dennis, now you've gone and immersed yourself in the numbers. Dennis is the math guy. Okay. And I mean, if there's anybody that is Dennis just says the way it is. I mean, he knows the number. Now you've gone in, you went and bought mining contracts, cloud mining contracts from about anybody you could go and throw money at.
Scam or not.
You didn't, it didn't matter. You just bought it.
If it said mining, I bought it.
And maybe you can explain then, you created a spreadsheet and you did all these algorithms and stuff and you worked out the numbers and exactly how, crunched them all together. What's the real truth behind these cloud? Are they profitable?
Well, here's the thing that I did. So first of all, I found that the hardest part of it all is the confusion. So is your contract Ethereum? Is your contract Litecoin? Is your contract Ripple? Is your contract Bitcoin? Is your contract this? Is your contract that? And everything has a different price. So I figured out that the way to evaluate one versus the other was say, okay, who cares? If I put in $100 into contract A, whatever it is, How many days does it take to pay back is one thing to think about, but even that isn't the most important thing. I said, what is my amount of Bitcoin per dollar invested that I get back from this contract? So I took it all to a common denominator so I could literally take a look and see company A, company B, company C all selling hash power for Bitcoin, SHA-256 hash power, and I could literally compare if they were doing the same thing or not. And I could see. So I broke it all down to one number. And then it was just a matter of buying every contract out there and evaluating that number against another number. So basically what the truth is, if you're buying cloud mining contracts, because this is not true if you own your own rigs, if you're buying cloud mining contracts, right now there is nothing more profitable by a factor of 2.5 to 3 than Bitcoin mining contracts, which, by the way, the world is right now sold out of. You can't buy one anywhere because they're in demand. Now, why would they be in demand, Craig?
Maybe because they're the most profitable.
And I've been into this for quite some time now, and I've got contracts that I paid $2,000 for that are just Bitcoin. And I have already now in 62 days got just over half of my money back. Now, is that going to last? Probably not. But the reality is, does mining work? Yes. So when you read that article on the internet about how mining didn't work in May of 2017, it's true. In May of 2017, there was very, very little profit because that was just before the big bump. Well, let's say April. That was before the bump. After the bump that's happened that lifted a bunch of currencies to being 10 times or more their value, all of a sudden, cryptocurrency mining is highly profitable. All of the information on the internet that is posted before June is essentially invalid. Now, will it stay profitable forever? Nope. It can all go away. But the point is, yes, cryptocurrency mining, cloud contracts, profitable. More profitable, own your own rig, plug it into the wall, take all the risk. But also, you got to buy a whole rig. You can't just buy a little piece of hash power.
Got it.
So, yeah, absolutely profitable.
So for those people that are brand new to Bitcoin, what is a Bitcoin? What is hash power? What is crypto mining? Because like you said, I didn't even know, what are you talking about? You're mining these coins on the internet. Is there a quick little version that you can just tell somebody in easy to understand terms, what the heck is crypto mining? What do they mean by mining a Bitcoin? So, because a lot of people are watching this going, I still got no idea. Are they out there with a pick? Are they out there trying to find these coins? Are they falling out of their computer? How does crypto mining actually, what do you mean by that?
Well, I'm happy to answer that, but if anyone else knows and wants to answer that, I don't want to talk the whole time, but if I'm the one that knows the answer, I'm more than happy to share. Anyone else? Hands up.
Sure, but
My turn.
I do know and understand. Go ahead and let you go since you got the book.
If you got it, I'd love to hear another person's perspective, and then we can sort of talk about what you know and what I know. I think it'd be perfect if you can shoot it down for us.
Yeah, go ahead. I've just read your book today. That's what I'm saying. It's incredible.
Okay.
All right, well, let Dennis go first then.
Well, I'm saying it's very compact. It's very, I think everybody that's watching the webinar would basically really be greatly enhanced by getting it. I think it gives a great objective view, and it gets in some of the nuances and so forth. So,
Perfect.
All right.
So, what is mining?
What is mining, Dennis?
So Bitcoin is a decentralized currency, which is why it's hilarious when everyone says, oh, the governments are going to control it. Now, the governments are pissed off because they can't control it. Right? China said they shut it down. No, they didn't. They just shut down the easy ways of doing it. Anyone who's involved in China is now running it through Japan. Instantly, all of a sudden, Japan's 50% of the world market because China shut down. So it still goes on. That's the whole beauty of it. So the way it stays decentralized is every time someone sends Bitcoin from one guy to another guy, the transaction has to be confirmed by as many as 20 computers. So everybody that's mining is running an algorithm that tries to solve an equation that confirms that the transaction's legit.
Okay.
Why would someone plug a computer into the wall and spend $150 a month on electricity to do this? Well, because there's something called the blockchain reward. If you solve that equation, you get a bunch of free Bitcoin. Right now, it's 12.5 Bitcoin. Now, you're not going to solve an equation with your laptop. You're going to need a bank of computers. So there's something called mining pools. Mining pools allow your laptop to be plugged in and someone else's great big machine to be plugged in, and a bunch of S9 miners to be plugged in, all combining that computer strength to solve this equation to try to win the reward. And then whoever wins the reward, it gets split between all the people based upon how much their computer contributed. So mining is simply the process of putting a piece of equipment in place to solve the complicated equation that validates that the transaction is real in a decentralized way.
Got it.
That's all mining is.
Now, when people were talking about mining being profitable or not, so there's this reward. Now, currently in Bitcoin, that reward is 12.5 Bitcoin.
Correct.
So
almost 50 grand US.
But a year ago, that wouldn't have been worth 50,000 US.
No, but a year ago, well, somewhere around a year ago, it was 25 coins.
Okay.
And in 2021, it's going to drop to 6.25 coins.
Right.
So if Bitcoin stays around the $4,000 to $5,000 range from now until 2021, nobody believes it will except the people that are buying on the dip, the bankers. Anyways, whole different story. If it stayed, then effectively on the 2021, whenever it is, March or something, every mining contract would be useless because it would be costing you more in electricity than you're getting back in Bitcoin reward.
Got it.
But if the price of Bitcoin doubles in that next 4 years, mining could still stay profitable. But it also has to do with this thing called difficulty. So basically, to cut it down to the simplest part, a mining contract will degrade. So if you buy a contract that's paying you $15 a day right now, over time that'll shrink unless the price of Bitcoin goes up faster than the difficulty to mine it. So Bitcoin has some built-in protections to make sure that it always takes so long before it gives this reward. It does that by making the equation harder to solve. Okay. So if all things stayed equal, Bitcoin mining would die in 2021 when the reward halves. But if everything stays as it's going now, and that's why it had almost died before. It got too difficult to get, and the reward wasn't worth enough because 25 Bitcoins at $300 wasn't enough to pay the electricity. So it goes unprofitable when the cost of maintenance of the machine and the electricity of the machine is more than the coins you're getting as your reward. Doesn't mean it's stupid to keep mining, because technically you can keep mining and keep accumulating coins, and if the price does zoom up, you'd be good, but you got to start putting the $150 a month into electricity to keep your rig in the wall and deal with the screaming fan and the heat and all that. So in other words, it's really not feasible in your house.
Okay.
Maybe your garage.
So now you've done the math. Now we're hearing things out there, and I'm sure, Stan, you're hearing this, Greg, you're hearing this, of these amazing amounts of money that you're going to get paid when you get into with some of these companies, these MLM companies. And the one that comes to my mind that we hear the most of is like, you're going to get a 1% per day return on your mining contract. Now, Dennis, in your algorithm, in this great big huge spreadsheet with buying contracts from all these certain things and having your own miners in a wall, is it possible? Is it realistic? Is it impossible? 1% per day, guaranteed.
No. Even with our own rigs plugged into the wall, the latest, greatest rigs, you don't get 1% a day. If you somehow went and traded it and did this and you did all the stuff the supposed MLMs say they do to make it happen, you might be able to get that every now and then. You might even be able to get that for a week or two at a time, but there's no guarantee, and it could go bad just as bad. So in other words, a pure mining play without trading attached to it is going to be more secure, less return. Hey, risk reward. A mining deal that is somehow also trading it to try to get you maximum value now depends upon the trader not screwing up. So maybe more reward, but higher risk. So it really comes down to what's the overall formula. But in my honest opinion of everything I've studied, I do not believe there's any way to guarantee 1% other than to run a Ponzi scheme where you take the money from this guy and you pay it out to each of these guys daily.
Right.
Bernie Madoff did that for 18 years.
That's right.
For 18 years, as long as new money was coming in. So what's happening is many of the MLM companies are creating a join fee with no valid product, and so you're purchasing maybe a training package, they say, or something for $1,500 or $1,000. That money is what's subsidizing the compensation plan. That money is what's subsidizing the quote 1% a day that is not coming from trading or not coming from
mining,
and not coming from mining. But here's what I have to say. Knowing now what I know, and I've just immersed myself with it, I watched a $75 contract, and I would look in the back office and see it was getting daily returns, around 40 cents, maybe not always up to 42 cents, sometimes 40, sometimes 35 cents. But think about this. You have a grandchild. If you bought a very small contract of $100, and those contracts are not lifetime, they say they are, most of them aren't.
Well, eventually they self-destruct. So
they do. But I mean, just think about that. A $75 contract, and I see it kicking out 40 cents a day. The truth is good enough.
That's right. Yeah,
the truth is good enough.
If you compared that to taking that same money and putting it into a 10% annual mutual fund, which is also almost unheard of sustainably year after year, you'd still make more in mining, even with what appears to be that very small return. So
exactly.
That's the hard part about mining. The truth is good enough when you compare it to anything else. Cloud mining, the truth is good enough because cloud mining means you don't do anything. You just give money, and a company like mine has to maintain all of the machines, put the new machines in, know what the new algorithm is, know what works, know what doesn't, unplug this machine, plug in that machine, fix stuff. It's a big job, and it takes a huge amount of capital because I have to sell the hash power for less than I make on it. It takes about 18 months to turn a profit. Okay, so this is with a guy knowing the numbers. So when an MLM is talking like they're going to be paying all this money, the reality is you need a lot of upfront capital to do legit mining. It's very cash intensive.
Very cash intensive.
So if you can sell off your mining capacity to spin your money to get more mining capacity, that's great. But we're talking about millions of dollars cycling around to deal with this.
Right now, I mean, Genesis Mining, okay.
Yeah, they're huge.
They're monstrous, and people are putting up money right now because they're trying to get more hash power, and it's not available until end of October, November.
Genesis Mining is so big that they have 3 completely separate investments. Raising money to raise more money to build faster because Genesis Mining is also sold out of Bitcoin hash power.
Right.
Because it does work.
It does work. And I'd like to talk about trading just for a second. And as
hang on, let's let Dr. Breakthrough come in with his 2 bits so far. So we don't want to leave him hanging out in the dark.
What are you seeing in that area there with people exaggerating about Bitcoin and the money they're going to be making? What are you getting at your end?
Well, I mean, that's obviously in any industry, and obviously network marketers. That's what really attracts them. Now, I will say this. Again, based on the strategy that people use and so forth, obviously things are going to fluctuate. But again, to have something sustainable, like I said, first of all, you always have to understand there are no guarantees, period. Anybody dealing with currency, that has to be the understanding up front. There are no guarantees. You always take a calculated risk. However, like I said, like Dennis said, you want to do the numbers and crunch numbers as much as possible. So you're taking a calculated risk, but you want to calculate it that you're coming out on the better side of the risk, right? Because again, nobody knows. Like I said, Bitcoin's up and down, it's been up and down, and again, it's been going up consistently now, and it's projected to go up, drastically. But again, who knows? I mean, we can't. Again, there's no guarantees of that. So the best thing to do is, like I said, with the contract situation, it's kind of like hedging yourself, and so that's probably the best scenario for somebody that's brand new.
Yeah, I mean, for someone who doesn't know, I agree. I mean, it's the best way because it lets you go in and learn and you get a little bit of satisfaction, and it's not necessarily a whole lot of money. So it can get you the bug. I mean, I bought mining contracts at first and I was like, oh gosh, I remember the first time I transferred $80 worth of Bitcoin to Genesis. And I was like, okay, well, they haven't approved it yet. What's going on? I didn't even know that it could take an hour for the transaction to happen. So here I am freaking out. I sent my money, it has disappeared. Nothing's going on. What's going on? What's going on? Like, it's kind of a scary world. So by letting people ease into it with it, and I mean, I have a software business that sells a lot of software, and we help a lot of MLMs. So honestly, 40 cents a day doesn't really change my life. But I got to tell you how excited I was when I looked at the back office and I saw 40 cents worth of Bitcoin. And I'm like, oh my God. And then, of course, Mr. Skeptic, oh yeah, but they're just sucking me in. Watch what happens after 3 days. Because, of course, the internet had said after 3 days, it all goes away and you get screwed. No, 38 days, 48 days, 68 days. And I was like, holy moly, this works. Yeah. So, yes. The truth is good enough. In my opinion, a Bitcoin contract right now, and I'm going to say this on camera, should return you double your money to triple your money over 1,000 days. Not a lot more than that, maybe a little bit less, but either way, it's considerably better than sticking it in the bank. But it's also risky, and here's why. if your Bitcoin contract does go unfinancial and gets canceled, you lose your initial capital. So the difference is when you buy a mutual fund and you put $100 into a mutual fund, even if it goes down, you don't lose your initial capital. You can lose a piece of it depending how much it goes down. But if the return goes from 10% to 2%, it never gets canceled and disappears. Like, it might drop 50%. So that's really the difference between the two. So once you've made it till you've got your money back in a contract, well, now, of course, it's all the casino's money. So now you're on track with the mutual fund. So, yeah, I mean, the truth is good enough. It has a good rate of return. And right now, in my opinion, with where things are at, it is a much better risk profile than it was a year ago.
Now, and Stan, you were saying the same thing there, that you should, as soon as you can get, you're paid daily. And then that money is transferred directly to your Bitcoin account, to your Bitcoin wallet. It's your money. And then you can decide if you want to pull your money out, if you want to put some more back in. But you're right, play with the house money, if you want to use casino term, as quickly as possible, so that it's a little bit easier. There's no risk. And that's what you were saying, right, Stan?
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
So, I will take this. I mean, for the people that don't understand, I'm going to give a simple illustration. So here's a copy of my book, How to Build a Big Team Fast. Okay. Now, this is a physical book. I have the same book that's in digital form. Now, I have to buy the book, and then I resell it to people. So obviously there's a payment. There's a certain amount of dollars I buy this for, so I have to sell it for a certain amount. Well, when I have the same book that's digital, technically outside of me creating it, there's no cost whatsoever. So the margins are so much bigger on something digital versus something physical. So everything in the world, think about it, is already gone digital. So there's no way of fighting cryptocurrency or digital currency. What the discussion is about is, how do you see yourself playing, and you want to make sure you do it in such a way that you come out as a winner and that you don't get sucked in to some of these things that are, again, they're playing off of it. I have people call me all the time, and I'm like, no, the company you're talking about doesn't even have Bitcoin, right? So stop saying. But the viable thing though, and this is what I'm thinking that this webinar is all about, is people need to get educated on cryptocurrency, digital currency, understand that it's valuable, it's very profitable, it's becoming more and more profitable all the time, and all the old school thinkers who were totally against it now are coming to it, and people that I personally have dealt with companies that they couldn't come up with $25 for a little, this little widget, or they couldn't get $100 for this juice, they'll gladly fork over $5,000, $10,000 for this new digital currency because it's new. And the smart companies are saying, listen, how can we then, if it's something that started, just like with network marketing, we would tell people, I was like, look, you might as well join that. I just do generic training now, but when I was building teams, I'm like, look, you're going to join me now, or you're going to wish you would have joined me later. So, come on. And that's the same thing with cryptocurrency, right? And so again, but the key is getting properly educated by people that you know, like, or trust, that can help guide you in the proper way so you can produce the profits that you desire and that you deserve.
Exactly, and all three of us here, we completely agree with that. That's the old plow horse over here is finally endorsing crypto. We stayed away from it, for a long time because and I think the timing is right.
I'm a reputable MLM software company, and it scared the crap out of me on behalf of my client. Yeah. No longer does it. But boy, I tell you, I spent 2 years in complete fear, and I am not happy with myself about that now.
No, and I mean, and so now that we understand that, that Bitcoin is here to stay, yeah. And we talked about some of the things that you should be looking for. Stan, you were just alluding to this. There's a bunch of MLM companies that have their own coins, yes. And people are talking about all the millions of dollars that they're making, because I've heard the number millions of dollars. I have $5 million, $10 million, $20 million that I've made in the last year in it, but it's in their company coin. Why is that different if we're all in the same cryptocurrency? Why is it different to earn your own company's coin than it is to get Bitcoin? What's the difference in that?
Well, your difficulty is depending on the company. If it's a legitimate company that's doing a mined coin, there's a little bit less risk because, unless they've taken a big pile out of it, what's called pre-mining, right? So the biggest key to a coin is you need to know the metrics of how the coin launched. If it's a legitimate Bitcoin or Ethereum based coin, you need to know what was pre-mined. What are the mining rules, or is it even mineable, or is it a token versus a coin? You need to know all these things. You need to understand all these things before you jump into an MLM. Because your biggest problem with almost all the Ethereum-based things is that right now, almost every industrialized nation has decided that most Ethereum contracts, or most Ethereum tokens, are investments because they actually have value in the token as far as it's a smart contract, or it actually, the token physically does something. And now they're all starting to say, well, hang on, then that means it has value versus Bitcoin that actually has no value, strangely enough, because there's no inherent value in Bitcoin. It's just whatever will pay you for it. So you're not saying it contains anything. So the SECs of the world are starting to say, well, hang on a second. If you're giving away all these tokens and they can all actually do something, then that's the same as a stock. Where if you're giving away just a true coin that doesn't do anything, it's not. So when your MLM is trying to say, hey, our coins do all these wonderful things, and this is our ICO, oh my goodness, you're probably astray of your country's laws that are on the books or about to be on the books. Now, when that happens, look at China. China went in and told everybody to refund every single person that invested. Every ICO in the last year, the Chinese government forced to give the money back. So now we have a bit of a problem, because what do most companies do when they get $50 million in upfront money?
They usually spend it.
So they don't usually have it to give back.
Right.
So this is going to be a bit of a problem. So imagine if your MLM is doing the same thing, selling you a coin on an ICO, and all of a sudden the SEC in the US turns around and says, everybody refund the money. We like what China did. What's going to happen to your MLM? Great.
So many of the companies have a coin that's actually worthless, because unless the company buys it back, there is no market for that coin. And so there is no market for it. So you're relying on the company. And if you take the time to even read, they'll indicate that maybe they're only willing to pay 30%. And so then everybody has these coins. You have worthless coins. There's a company out there that has been very popular for years. And those are worthless coins. Would you say that?
They are basically worthless coins, because you can't even just sell them back to the company, right? So the biggest MLM, we won't mention the name, so anyone who knows it knows it. It's not legal in most countries on the planet, so it's mostly over in Asia. And the coins are not withdrawable. So these people making $4 million a month are making it in a coin that they can't convert to cash.
That's right.
But they made an app, kind of like Lioness. So now you can go and you can dump them off on any restaurant who's willing to join the deal to get some of your coins that they can't get their money out of either. So the hardest part of it is when a company is not truly mining coins and there's no control on the coins, and they have a bunch of pre-sale coins, is the market has more sellers than buyers. So think about this. Your MLM, there's one MLM that's really funny. So they're saying, okay, so buy into our MLM and you get a bunch of our coins. And the only way to buy into our MLM is to use our coin. Well, it's almost a great concept, except that you're giving them a bunch of coins. So great, I buy into your MLM because I go and get some coins. And then because of that, you give me a bunch of coins. So then I go to my friend and I get him to sign up on the coins that you gave me. And now the company's received zero revenue because he paid with the coins that I got for free. So everyone's on a 2-for-1, and you're thinking the commission plan can be sustained. Give your head a shake. There's a problem with the math.
Well, as soon as you look at a compensation plan, this is what we've determined. If they're giving you coins as part of your payment in the plan,
run away.
It's your first way to look at, it's not a real coin that's going to be on an exchange.
Well, and the reason why is, like, even again, we talk about that big monster in the room that has all of the so-called amazing coin. Not one exchange will list them because they're not a legit coin. The company controls the price. The company controls the volume. The company can do whatever. An exchange won't do it because people are going to get screwed, and the exchange is not going to make any money. Right. So legit coins get listed because they're traded. Most exchanges now, because there's so many new coins, have started to institute a rule that if you don't have at least $5,000 a month worth of trading volume on your coin, you're delisted. They don't make money with your coin sitting there. So it's important that you have liquidity of your coin, and that has to happen with some vehicle outside of just your MLM.
I'd like to say this. This is a must-read book. It truly is. And this book is not promoting a company. It is a non-biased book of education. But let me share this with you. This book is free to read and free to share. And you get digital form. It's a living book. That means this is a hard copy, but it's a digital copy that's constantly upgraded because things are changing, you know, rapidly.
It's literally updated every day.
It's updated every day. But with that being said, this book at $99, and it's got affiliate links in here, links for exchangers and a host of other things that they also have affiliates. You can earn money. And just off this book at $99, it's a enormously generous 2-level 30/20 affiliate plan. So
yeah, we're not gonna get into that on this webinar.
Right. So, but I'm just saying this is a must read because it is not promoting a company. But now, going back to trading. Sorry,
hang on, but let's talk about that with the affiliate links and that, and why a living book and Stan, you know, you're right. Having a digital book is fantastic. And Dennis, you've taken the idea of a digital book and you've gone one step further.
We just ramped it up a bit
with having the affiliate links that you were talking about to some of the things that are, so they're not MLMs, but things where you have to go and eventually buy. You have to buy Bitcoin.
In the crypto world, everything's an affiliate program. So all we did was we wrote a book that explains all of it and put some links to some of the most common. Some have affiliate programs behind them, some don't. And where there is an affiliate program, the link is actually built in. And then when you buy the living book for $99, this is getting you a 5-year license to all the upgrades and the ability to swap those affiliate links out to be your own. Right. So if your friend reads the book because it's good information and clicks on the link and signs up to Coinbase, you get $10 worth of Bitcoin. He gets $10 worth of Bitcoin, and he doesn't even know that he did that. It's not in your face at all. It's just a bunch of helpful links. And if he happens to click on Poloniex, then he doesn't get you anything because there's no affiliate program. So we didn't only put affiliate programs in. Yeah. We put all of the stuff that you need to know about in. Some of it has an affiliate link that you can turn to yours.
Right.
So you can actually literally, so what I did was I took this book and I shared it with 10 of my friends as a PDF. None of them are MLMers. I said, guys, I'm into crypto. And 10 of my friends said, I'm interested in crypto. Would you send me your book? So I sent 10 of my friends my book. And I've been watching some of my affiliate programs starting to take 20 and 30 hits a day. I only gave it to 10 of my friends and said, if you love it and you know someone else in crypto that wants to learn about mining, you're free to share it. And if they love it, they can buy a license. So what's happening is my 10 friends have shared it with other people because it's free to share. Sorry, it's free. It's free to read. It's not a free book, and it's free to share. And we suggest to share it freely. So my friends did that without being told. All I said was, if you have a friend, you're welcome to forward on to them. Those that love it, pay the $99 if they want the living version, or buy it on Amazon for, I think, $16 if you want the hard copy version.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's out there. And I didn't do anything. And I'm suddenly getting little $10 bits from here and a little this and little that and little that. I don't know these people. And it's definitely not my friends only. It's gone way too big. I only gave it to 10 people. I've got 20 hits on pages.
Right.
The math doesn't work. So yeah, it's just a good book that helps anyone learn.
May I?
Yes.
Many MLM companies are exploiting what's happening in the crypto world. And so just a few things, and I'm going to ask all of you to share as well. When I look at a company, I want to see if there's transparency. I want to see, are the owners listed? Do you know who they are, where they're located, etc. When I look at a company, I want to see if it's an ICO, then, you know, that's an internal coin. So
well, not necessarily, but here's my advice on an ICO. If it's an ICO, run the other way, because there's no way you're going anywhere but into a big pile of trouble. So correct. ICO, MLM equals go the other way.
Right. And if it's ICO, okay, you said go the other way, but all the MLMs that are offering ICOs, I don't see a white paper. I don't see transparency with the owners.
I've seen some of them, but again, it's an ICO. You're in North America.
Initial coin offering.
Yeah.
And then when it comes down to trading, I mean, just logistically, when I look at a website and I see they have a Gmail address and I see they have some generic videos and I see that, you can, was the website made off WordPress or where'd that come from?
Yeah.
And so a lot of it's just common sense, but it's easy to fall for that because you had a friend say, listen, Craig,
because all they talk about is the money.
That's right? It.
You get in. No. Okay. Just give us your money and our trader is going to do it all for you.
That's right.
And you got guaranteed returns because he's the best of the best of the best of the best. So that's interesting because you'll hear that pitch from 6 different companies. So does that mean they're all using the same trader or do they all have the best? Yeah. I get confused.
But we have a bot though, Dennis. We have a bot.
Right.
We've got a sophisticated computer software program that has actually gone out there and learned how to buy and sell. It always wins.
Always
wins. So that's why we get these high returns. So there we go.
Okay,
and Dennis, I talked to the owner personally.
Really?
I did. He told me everything was legit.
Okay, so let's break that down for a little bit. So anybody who understands the FX trading game or even the stock trading game, when you go to New York, there's a couple of ocean cables that come in from like across the Atlantic. Mm-hmm. And way back when, the banks started to buy real estate where nobody wanted real estate because it was closer to the ocean and it was in an obscure little area. But then they figured it out. They were able to tap in 2 microseconds faster than the other bank into the main internet cable. So they had a mega millisecond or whatever, a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of a millisecond head start over the other guy in getting the numbers. And all of this automated trading and stuff survives on those little differences in milliseconds based upon internet transmission speed. So if it was true that there was just a bot that just does all this, why would the banks ever share that with anyone? So some other guy figured it out. So even if your bot's really good, the banks will have it and they'll be 19 milliseconds ahead of you in line for the cable. So it's really, really weird when you hear these stories and you go read anything about the FX industry, you'll realize that none of the stuff they're saying is possible. No, they don't have an amazing trader that gets you 10% a month. They don't. Maybe you get 10% a month, 3 or 4 months in a row. But guess what? You know why you can never talk to the trader? It's not because he's busy. It's because he's going to tell you the truth, and the MLM can't have that. The trader's going to tell you, watch out. I'm winning. I'm on a winning streak. I have losing streaks. But the MLM doesn't want any part of that. No. So you'll never talk to the trader because the trader won't lie to you. Yeah. Because if he is truly number one in the world, he's not going to lie to you.
Now you do have clients. You have clients that have done this. So you're not speaking just out of your out of nothing here. You're speaking from experience, and you've had company owners tell you, "Yeah, we had a really good run." And
yeah, so here's the problem with trading, and it's terrible. If your company's actually doing it legitimately, right? If it's doing it legitimately, here's the problem. You just put, let's say they got on a run that was pretty good for 2 years. You've just put 2 years of your life into building a team that has maybe tens of thousands of people on it, and you're pot committed. And then your trader, because even if it's a bot, by the way, the traders are feeding the information. There's no bot that wins all the time. If otherwise, yeah, then everyone would be using the bot, and there'd have to be another way to win all the time, right? So if your trader screws up, which eventually he will, imagine this. All of the people that were super excited about the returns, all of a sudden get a 30% of portfolio haircut because this guy's putting big amounts on stuff. Your network dies that day, and it don't come back. If he loses another 20% the next day, and you have it all riding on them, and you've never taken profits, which is what happens in MLM. Right, I'm just going to re-up. I'm just going to re-up. So be careful about the myth. The fact is, every currency trader that's awesome will tell you, we also have bad beats. We also have bad runs. And a bad run, if you handle it wrong, can wipe out a whole bunch. We'll get it back for you. But that's why it isn't a 10% a month compounding, because there's bad times too. Yeah. Problem with building a network on trading is that bad time kills your networking, because now nobody wants to sell the bot because the bot's broken.
Right.
Nobody goes on their auto ship. Nobody does anything. Your income goes away like that. Why do I know this? I have clients that I've watched teams of 25,000 people stop overnight because a couple of bad beats to the trader. Nothing gets their belief back. You know why? Because everybody vacates and goes to the other company that has the #1 trader in the world. And until they lose almost all of their money going through the 4 or 5 liars, they don't finally realize that maybe it was too good to be true.
So now, and let's talk about, once again, and our common theme is always the truth is good enough. You know, and in an MLM, it does seem to be, we have a lot of people, especially in now crypto, there's a lot of exaggerations, excessive monetary income claims, outright lies. I mean, but why? I mean, we're on to something here in cryptocurrency. You've done the math.
The math works.
I mean, the math really works.
But it doesn't work as good as almost all the programs you're getting pitched say it does. That's the problem.
But what they're doing is, and Greg, you alluded to this, is they're attaching education packages to it. Now, what's the, and that can work. Yeah. I mean, really, your crypto mining Bible is an educational piece.
Right. And we resell it through our clients. So the key to the education, and I know Dr. Breakthrough knows a bunch about this too, but the key to the education is there has to be legit value to it. So you can't sell an education piece that simply promotes how to do your business. The education piece, as by the Excel Communications litigation that they won, has to be something that teaches people an actual skill that they can use outside of your company. Otherwise, it's not considered a tangible education piece that has any value. And of course, what is almost everybody doing? Oh, we're going to teach you how to get rich in our system. Dr. Breakthrough's system that isn't company specific would be absolute legitimate product of value to be sold by MLM. But as soon as it's tweaked to work just for your company and your company name appears all the way through it, it becomes completely useless and no product of value in your MLM. So it's that fine of a line between education, and then the final acid test is you need to be able to see that education is available in a generic format without an affiliate program and without money attached to it. Affiliate programs are usually accepted, full-blown MLMs are not, where it's available for the same or higher price, or at least around where you are with the same quality of course content. You need to be able to prove that, or your education isn't worth anything, and you are going to be in trouble with the FTC when they come in, put the value test on.
What about a membership? Some are saying, well, we have a membership for $500, $1,000, $1,500, and that's the membership. And for that membership, then you don't have to do anything. Your money is going to go to our trader, and our trader is going to just take care of everything for you.
And of course, that's completely illegal. So the membership has to have value. And if the value in the membership is money that's going to a trader, then that's no value according to the government, because it's not a product or service of value.
Well, and the other thing too is now in membership, you can't be paid to recruit in MLM, so you can't earn a commission on a membership fee.
That's right. And no, hang on, careful. You can't earn on a sign-up fee. You can't earn on a membership fee, but you have to be able to show again. So all the travel clubs, right? The travel clubs are sort of the precursors to the cryptocurrency, because the travel clubs, oh yeah, you can save on this, you can save on that. Okay, the problem is the MLM company paid $2,500 for a license to resell that thing unlimited times. So the government says, if it's only $2,500 to be able to sell it unlimited times, then your product of value is $2,500? No, sir, zero. Because anybody can simply pay $2,500 and resell it 100 times. So you can't say it's worth $500. The old days of the reprintable rights CDs of 1 million articles, and if you just sold 3 of them, you'd get all your money back. Again, people tried to pass that off as an MLM. The government said for $49, that's freely available all over the place. So no, it's not worth $1,200. You can't put $1,200 of value on your membership because it includes these things. You can put $49 on. Oh, crap, that killed a whole bunch of MLMs just like that. The same problem with crypto is you have to be able to point to things like the cryptocurrency manual, and it's $99, and it has value because it can be updated 100 times a year, and you have a 5-year license to it. You have to have legitimate stuff that isn't just self-serving.
And what about companies that, why would they not want to show their ownership, and why are they not transparent?
The hard part about that is in the crypto world, I think there's a lot of fear. I don't want to defend them, but I mean, if you go to Coin Payments or even some of the bigger crypto exchanges, it's not real easy to get through to a live person. And I think it's mostly because if you get on Reddit or you do any group chat, you see just how low the level of education is. And the questions you get inundated with, because they can find it to you, if you would drive you absolutely out of your mind. That said, you'd think on an MLM side, you'd have some transparency about who's running the thing.
Yeah. Now, and we're getting to the end of our hour here, and I want to kind of wrap up. One of the other things that has really come rampant in the Bitcoin world has got to be the reintroduction of all the actual gifting programs, the real, the money games. They all seem to have come back with a vengeance.
Well, because the whole problem with the gifting program has always been getting money from person A to person B is something that you use things like PayPal for, or StormPay, and then eventually those companies get in trouble and shut you down because they got in trouble. So they always die because you can't get the money to float around. That's not a problem with Bitcoin. So you can run this scam forever because it's irrevocable. So now, yes, I get hit with gifting programs and again, most of the people who come to me saying, I want to do a gifting program, when I explain why it's illegal,
they don't believe you, do they?
Even if they believe me, they're shocked because they drank the Kool-Aid that's out there trying to show how it's legit. And, it's just a loan, or it's this, or it's that. The reality is really simple. It's really easy to find the government websites that say very, 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 very concisely in every country on the planet, gifting programs are illegal, and all the things they say are not true on the government sites. Yeah. Probably best to believe that over the giftingprogramsarewasome.com.
All right. So we talked about that. So to summarize here, you know what? Bitcoin's here.
It's here to stay.
It's here to stay. We all love cryptocurrency. We all love it. The truth is good enough. Don't believe the hype. Okay. And part of the problem when you start believing the hype in your company is once you get into it, and you're seeing this happen a lot, Greg, somebody gets involved in something on the hype, they get a bunch of their friends in, then they learn the truth, but they want to put the blinders on, like, no, I can't possibly now believe the truth, because if I believe the truth, what I've just done, I've got all my friends involved, and I'd have to go to them and say, I made a mistake.
I screwed up.
So the lies perpetuate, and they get bigger and they get worse, and it's scary. So do your homework before you get involved. But I'd like to get everybody to kind of finish off with a little something, a little tidbit. Stan, you're down there. How would you like to say something you'd like to share with somebody that you think is really important that they should leave this webinar with today?
Yeah, sure. Well, again, there's over 900 cryptocurrencies. Anytime you deal with the cryptocurrency, you have to have a KYC, which is know your customer. Whenever there's not a KYC, that's when a lot of these different things can come in that can lead people astray. But the key is getting educated. And again, from somebody that you know, like, or trust that can help and that can assist you. But just know for sure, my friend, as we said, cryptocurrency is here to stay. Bitcoin is here to stay. The greatest financial minds said it was crazy. It'll never work. It's nothing but thin air. But then when you think about your dollar, it's nothing but thin air.
Exactly.
So it's the value that people put upon it and what people are willing to use. And more Bitcoin has been accepted more and more. And now I had a client the other day that said, man, I could have bought some back in 2009 that would now be worth about $25 million. They missed it. So I'm just saying, find the information. And that's why this webinar is important. Dennis's book. You got to get some good information, again, from people you know, like, or trust that can lead you in the right way.
Exactly. Thank you, Stan. Dennis.
I actually love Stan's point, so I want to actually add on to that, KYC, know your customer. The other way to know that the MLM you're in is a scam is if they let you join with minimal details. Because boy, oh boy, oh boy, if you even look at the history of Bitcoin, one guy that started one of the biggest exchanges in the beginning had one customer that was illegal. And he took his money knowing he's illegal. And I think he's still in jail or just about to get out. So when you're having an MLM that's accepting anybody in with little information, and they're not getting a picture of your passport or all that kind of stuff, or not even asking for your social security number in the US, you should be very concerned, because they don't necessarily go after the company, because a lot of these companies are smart and hosted somewhere else where they're not easy to get at. So if you're the guy leading that conference call, guess who they come get?
There you go. Coming after you. Greg.
Read this. Really, just read this. If you're in the crypto world, it is much more than just mining. It's the cryptocurrency mining Bible, but there's so much information, and it's solid, it's sound, it's updated, it's a living book, and it'll be of great value to you.
Great.
And that's it.
Well, and I'm going to leave everybody with one last thing. Dennis, you got 2 other books. Yeah. Are they on Amazon yet? Are they almost?
The MLM Success Bible should be out shortly.
This is great. Great stories. Yeah. Great stories on there. The Small Business Bible?
This is out live on Amazon US and probably by now on Canada as well.
So if you're not an MLM in that, I mean, great information.
Real estate agent, restaurant, hair salon, you name it. That book will teach you how to make more sales.
And the final thing is, over the next 3 years is really where the end of mining is going to be. When's the end of Bitcoin mining?
It won't be the end of
mining. The actual, all of it's
somewhere
out.
In 2021 is when they'll run out of Bitcoin as far as it'll hit the 21 million.
So if we can have a word of advice to everybody out there, now is the time to get Bitcoin, and do your best to do what is possible to get as much Bitcoin as you can now. And the safest way to do it, so you're not having to worry about the fluctuations of the Bitcoin, which has been in the last month, it's fluctuated quite a bit, is to do mining.
It's going to give you a little bit every day.
Yeah.
Right? A little bit every day. And if you just leave it, it'll stack up. Bitcoin goes up or down, doesn't matter, because your mining contract's going to give you a little bit every day, and it's going to be put away. It's almost like a forced savings plan, because you know what happens when you go in and you put your $2,000 into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then it promptly goes up double. It's going to be real hard not to decide to just sell it right there. Or if you're like a lot of people that bought September 1st, which was my birthday when Bitcoin hit its all-time high and then promptly dropped to $3,800. You went from $5,000 to $3,800. What are you probably going to do? Sell out because this thing's going to the bottom. I'm screwed. My buddy was wrong. Buy and hold is a potentially good strategy, but then your money's tied up forever. Mining just as a way to get it going a little bit easier. And then from there, take your profits, play with altcoins, play with other things, play with some trading, whatever you want to do. Yeah. But yeah, get started in something that's safe and secure and not too scary that's not going to keep you up at night.
All right. So we all love Bitcoin. We hope you do too. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next week. Every Wednesday, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern, our MLM Mastermind. Thanks to all my guests. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Stan. Thank you, Dennis. And we'll see you all next week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.